Heard the lowlanders have been fighting rebels by the coast, west of the grove. If you're still helping the chief handle those scabs, you might want to talk to Kragella at Tide's Reach.
If I make it out there, I'll see what I can do.
Take a look or move on.
Let's look at this mess of data.
Can you speak?
There she is.
Maniacs, lava.
I'll remember that next time I go traveling.
At least I got what we needed to trap a fet.
Good thing I got my gear ready then.
You look tired.
Ha! You never want to hope. I've just been making sure that I got everything. I wouldn't want to be the usual screw-up out there.
You'll do fine, Errand. Have you spoken with Alva yet?
Yeah, when she's not reading the archives like a giddy kid drinking her first ale. She took to that new... I gotta say, I'm a little jealous. But I can see why you two hit it off.
I should get going.
As soon as you want us head...
I'll give you the heads up.
Can we talk for a moment, Aloy?
From the look on your face, I'd say the mission was a success.
I got Omega clearance. Is everyone ready to head out to Cauldron Gemini?
As soon as you give the word.
Did Alva make it here all right?
Our new Quen friend. The moment she laid eyes on the archives, she jumped on them like a long leg.
Sounds about right. How's everyone feeling?
Everyone's curious about Alva. It's amazing to think there's an entire tribe across the Great Waters who've been using focuses for longer than I've been alive. Zoe's been trying to get Alva to run her through Quen history, but she seems a bit shy around her.
From what I gather, the Quen get punished if they share data. She just needs some time to get used to us.
Makes sense. We'll give her some space.
Once Gaia is back up and running, I expect you to put all your training to good use.
The seeds have been planted. All they need is a chance to bloom. What? I thought that was pretty good. Zoe liked it.
I'm glad you and Zoe found each other.
Don't forget, you're to blame for that.
Now that I have Omega clearance, we can grab Hephaestus and finally have the advantage over the Zeniths.
Can't wait to see their faces as they stare down a bunch of charging Thunderjaws.
Better them than us, for once. I should go get this to Gaia.
Of course. Let us know when we're needed.
Welcome back.
Good to be back. Have you met our new Quen guest yet?
I could barely keep up as she gave herself a tour of the base. Varl gave her a new focus. Though when he told her she was free to access all the data we had here, she turned so pale, I thought she'd faint on the spot. We showed her to the archive room so she could see for herself. She hasn't left the place since.
Sounds like Alva.
Oh, I also wanted to...
Thank you, Zoe.
You deserve much more for all you've done.
And... you read anything interesting lately?
I found out the old ones used leaf. Apparently it helped soothe them. That and some sort of scented wax cleanse their aura. But me, I think I'll stick to singing to calm the nerves.
How are things with everyone?
Slightly quieter. Aaron's been busy scouring data. Apparently the old ones wrestled machines as some kind, called it metal versus meat. A must-see battle. You'd think we have enough of that going around as it is.
How to go with the chorus after...
They were shocked when I told them that our lands would soon be on the mend. I thought Fane's eyes would pop out of his head, but of course they had no choice but to take it as good news, even if it meant all their preaching about meekly accepting our doom. To be honest, I found the conversation to be highly...
I'm glad. You deserve... They're lucky that you never gave up on... I need to get...
Right. That means we'll be going after Hephaestus soon.
Holograms. Gaia, I thought you said the data here was lost.
I was able to repurpose the equipment to store the data you have acquired in your travels.
Well, looks like it's getting some use.
Aloy!
Right to work, I see.
There's just so much. I mean, we knew of artificial beings that served the ancestor. Oh, she's amazing! And you, a true reincarnation of an ancestor. Genetically speaking, of course, not like the, And there's more ancestors out there. Of course, they're trying to kill us, which is not great. And Eric Visser is with them, which is disturbing. And then there's Hephaestus.
Okay. How about we take it one step at a time?
You're right. I also owe you...
I see you've been using your new...
It's been fascinating. So much better than the version the Quen have. What would have taken me years, like the database you helped me recover, with this, I've been able to establish search per... This could revolutionize how diviners analyze the legacy. That is, whatever part of it the overseers would actually let us study.
You wanted data, you'll find lots of it here.
A diviner has never had this sort of unsupervised access to archives such as this. And knowing you, I suspect there is much that would normally be forbidden held within them. But I was sent here to... Maybe it'll help the Quen find their way back to the path of truth.
I imagine you don't know anyone here that well yet, but they're a good group.
It's funny because one of your friends is, well, another you. Not that you are the same person. I mean, you are, as in, you're both genetically Elizabeth Sobek, but even so, you're different.
Yeah. I hope everyone's been treating you.
Oh, yeah, of course. And they share the knowledge. It's refreshing.
Sounds restrictive and stifling.
Yeah, you are not wrong.
You mentioned Eric Visser?
The Zenith who tried to kill you? He is known to the Quen as the Protect, combing through data related to his work, related to weapons and military tactics. Knowledge our rulers use to conquer and expand. That's why he's one of our most revered ancestors. But, based on your encounter with him, it appears he's even more ruthless than we ever... Yet another distorted interpretation in the legacy.
Well, at least you're piecing together the truth.
If only the overseers back home would...
Beta mentioned other Zeniths. Tilda, Verbena, and Gerard.
I'm afraid I don't know anything about them. Whatever legacy they left behind...
You said you owed me an explanation for what happened in Thebes.
Right. I'll start at the beginning, with the CO. He was an Imperial, the Emperor's nephew. As such, he sponsored many diviners to search the legacy, and himself. He took a special interest in anything related to Ted, whom we consider the greatest of the ancestors.
Ted Pharaoh, revered ancestor.
I know better now, of course. Anyway, the diviners discovered that Pharaoh spent in fact, many of the most important ancestors did. So the Emperor's nephew convinced him that an expedition across the ocean might solve our most pressing. If only we could find the right data in this fabled city. Perhaps we could roll back the floods and storms that the Emperor declared that all the tribe's resources be poured into this endeavor. Dozens of ships were built, scouting missions were dispatched, and the Emperor's nephew was named CO, one who wields the legacy for the good of the Empire. The living embodiment of Ted Pharaoh, a renewer. It may seem strange now, but for a time, he carried all of our hopes. We really believed he would save us. We had no idea just how perilous the journey would be.
You said the expedition across the sea was more dangerous than you thought it would be. What happened?
We lost most of our ships to hurricanes, and scores of soldiers perished to hunger and disease. And that was before we even hit the coast. Once we landed, machines ripped our patrols apart, and we struggled to replenish our rations. There were bright spots, to be sure. We found Thebes and the greenhouse, but nothing improved the CO's mood as his dreams of saving the tribe were slowly dashed. He became more and more obsessed with Thebes and what lay behind its door. And more convinced that the title of CO was no mere honorific. You heard him, spouting nonsense about Pharaoh's essence and some kind of becoming. We knew these weren't the words of a sane man, but he was quick to put any who spoke out in front of a firing squad.
What a great guy.
The Quen are wrong about many things when it comes to the legacy, but what the CO became was a complete perversion of what principal diviners stand for. The pursuit of truth. I'm sorry you had to endure his madness. I'm just glad it's over. For everyone.
So, Bohai, your overseer. Will he run things better than CO?
He won't execute people on a whim, if that's what you mean. But he's hardly a paragon of integrity. I can't tell you how many times he took credit for data. The best thing I can say about him is that he can be trusted to always do what's best.
Yep, sounds about... Back at the greenhouse, you spoke...
Diviners are meant to seek out the truth in the legacy. And many Imperials sponsor them in the hopes they'll find something the Empire can put to use. But the Board of Overseers claims certain truths are detrimental to the stability of the Empire. Like discovering one of our revered ancestors ended the world. That is why diviners are only allowed to access segments of the legacy. Only Overseers can view it all. It ensures that any heretical data can be contained and retrieved before it can spread.
What happens to diviners who break the rules?
I never had the courage to ask.
You mentioned the reason you came here was to help your family. Your sister...
Her name is Alika. Our parents are commoners. Peasants, really. When I passed the divination exams, they were so proud. It brought honor to our family and increased rations. Only Alika begged me not to leave for the research academy.
Why? What happens there?
Alika knew that once you enter, you're not allowed to leave or see anyone, not even your family. Unless you can get special permission and an escort by an overseer.
It sounds harsh.
like the focuses we keep, diviners are, well, fearful that outsiders will try to steal. Last time I was allowed to see my family was just before our voyage. Because of my position, I was able to get them refuge from the floods within the capital. But if our crops don't recover soon, they'll starve to death along with everyone else.
I promise I'll do my best to make sure it doesn't come to that. The ancestors, is that what your people call the old ones?
Yes and no. The ancestors are the greatest of the old ones. Those whose legacy taught us agriculture, medicine, warfare, leadership, and patronage of the science and arts.
The CEO called Elizabeth Sobek an assistant. What's that about?
Right. Well, any old one who has made minor contributions or worked extensively under one of the ancestors is called an assistant. That's how we thought of Sobek, until we met you. Our limited access to data past the late 2040s has obviously misinformed our view of the past.
I need to get going, but if you need anything...
All I need is to help you succeed. The plan Gaia told me about, it will help set the...
I hope so.
Then I will...
So this Hephaestus, he's like Gaia's own personal blacksmith.
Yeah, a very angry one.
Act like my Uncle Lauren. Man didn't smile at me.
Rebel camps laid out as visions. Aloy, well met. We've been briefed on our mission, and are ready whenever you wish to head to Cauldron Gemini.
Were you able to finish the new arm, guy?
Indeed.
You wanted to talk about your arm?
Indeed. It's time to test it.
Okay. How are we doing this?
Not how. Where? Will you meet right where the river bends?
Sure, if you want, but...
You'll see when we get there. I promise.
Then I'll let you know when I get close.
You have my thanks, Aloy.
How are your studies going?
I wanted to learn more about the world of the Old Ones.
And?
I looked up this pharaoh Gaia said you went looking for, and learned about the plague of machines he unleashed. To think that the ancient world was wiped out by... a mistake. A single miscalculation. There is no glory or honor in such a fate. Only hubris. And pointless death.
That about sums it up. Have you spoken with Alva?
The Quen is peculiar. Nothing like a Tenakth. Her mind is sharp, that much is certain. But it's hard to imagine her surviving in the wilds.
Trust me, she's tougher than she looks.
I will take your word for it.
I have to go now.
Then do not let me keep you.
Like I said, I'll call you when I'm close to Regala's old outpost near the bulwark.
May the 10 guide your way.
Looks like Gaia was able to unlock that door. Looks like some kind of maintenance space. I wonder where this leads. Power cells? Huh.
Aloy? A bunch of lights just turned on up here? Was that you?
Oh. Huh. Yeah, I guess it was. This is where Kotalo wanted us to test out his new arm. I'm not sure what he's planning. I should let him know I'm around. Hey, Kotalo. I'm by the Tremor Tusk site, where we agreed to meet. Want to test that new arm of yours?
I'll be there shortly.
Thank you for waiting.
Maybe now you can tell me what we're doing here?
Not just yet. Follow me, please.
Someone's being awfully mysterious.
You took your sweet time telling me what you wanted to do to the bulwark. Consider this my revenge.
Fair enough.
This is it.
What am I looking at?
Oh, you'll see. Come.
All right, talk to me, Kotalo.
I wish to test the arm on that. It has menaced the valley for some time. Killed more than a few of the Sky Clan. But no longer.
I'm honored to help.
After you. Let's see how this thing likes the taste of metal.
Turn this around.
I am a weapon formed for battle!
Well, I think it's safe to say the new arm works fine.
Agreed.
Then why are you taking it off?
This is what I am now. What I overcame. Anything else feels... wrong. Like a disguise. I'll use the new arm. when I need it. But the rest of the time, I will simply be myself.
I wouldn't have it any other way.
You have my thanks for doing this with me. Here. Something to mark our victory.
Thank you. I'll see you later then.
The 10 be with you, Aloy.
Stay alert, soldier.
If you walk by, you'll miss out on a good trade.
Welcome back.
Okay, data module's in.
Error. Drone feed disconnected.
Excellent choice. Aloy, I know your experience in Thebes was unsettling, but we have a new problem.
Did something go wrong with Beta and the rig? Will we be able to transport you to Gemini?
The rig is complete. The problem is Hephaestus itself. It has accelerated its proliferation throughout the Cauldron network, increasing its power.
But with your sub-functions restored, we can still succeed, right?
Correct. But the net effect is that absorbing Hephaestus will take longer than previously calculated.
How long?
Even with Omega clearance, my current estimate is that the merge will take 35 hours.
And each hour increases the risk of detection by the Zeniths. Two cores. Two overrides. What if the merge were carried out by two clones of Elizabeth Sobek, both armed with Omega clearance? How long then? Half the time?
Hephaestus would be unprepared for the simultaneous labor of two operators, in addition to obvious synergetic efficiencies. Calculating. It would reduce the merge time to approximately 4.5 hours.
Okay. Varl, it looks like we're gonna need Beta at Gemini. Do you think you can convince her?
I don't know, but I'll try.
What about our diversion? Are the pulse generators ready?
Only a final test remains. I am confident that if fired in proximity to other cauldrons, the pulses will mask our activities at Gemini from the Zeniths.
Good. As long as Aaron can operate one without shooting himself in the face.
Aloy, you better get down here. Beta's in bad shape.
Okay.
Is your focus acting up again?
That's fine.
Aloy. I tried, but it's impossible. I don't think anything will convince her to go.
We don't have a choice.
Good luck.
Beta, you have to come with us. It's the only way. It's one mission. The most important one. We need you. Tell me why you won't go. What if they take me back? Alone, in a cell again. A slave. Forever. Varl and I will be at Gemini too. I'll protect you. As soon as we get Hephaestus, we'll come straight back here. The Zeniths aren't going to find us. You don't have to be afraid. No! You can't protect me. Nothing can protect me from them. I told you from the beginning, we'll never beat them. It's hopeless. Beta. Leave me alone! You don't understand! You're right. I don't understand. We have the same genes, the same mind, the same heart. So why can't you find the strength to do what has to be done? Like Elizabeth would. Don't you think I've thought about that? I don't know what piece of Elizabeth I'm missing. I don't know what you have that I don't. I look through all the data from your focus. You were raised as an outcast, shunned, and isolated just like me, so what's the difference? What's my defect? Beta, you don't have a defect. Beta, look, it's not a piece of Elizabeth. The difference is, I had him. Frost. He raised you, trained you, but he was never warm or loving. The day he died, the day he gave you that charm, he was going to abandon you. He wanted me to embrace the tribe. But then he gave his life for mine. He loved me in his own way. And that was enough. What did it feel like? It was like having a strength that was always there. That's still there. Even now I hear him in my head when things get bad. When it looks impossible, look deeper. And then fight like you can win. You don't have to go on the mission. We'll find another way. I'll go. You said you'd try to protect me. I believe you. But you have to promise me one thing. Yes, of course. If it goes bad, if the Zeniths find us, I don't want to be their slave again. Do you understand? Okay. Promise? I promise. I could use as much time as you can give me to study up on the merge, to make it as efficient as possible. I'll be ready when you are. I swear.
Aloy, whenever you're ready, come speak to me and I'll ask the others to make final preparations for the mission.
So, we're fighting immortals from the stars now?
Hello again, Aloy. Hello, Aloy.
Hey, Gaia. So, me and Beta, I guess you heard what happened.
Yes. I am continuously impressed by the complexity of human relationships. Despite the unpleasant circumstances that led to your quarrel, I am pleased to see you have both found an agreeable resolution.
Well, two heads are better than one, right?
Yes, I believe so. Are you ready to depart for Cauldron Gemini? Or we can continue our conversation, if you like.
So the Hades Proving Lab, where it used to be a Pharaoh research facility?
Yes. The facility was used to engineer. It appears to have been one of many
I guess it wasn't enough to build automated killing machines. He wanted viruses to infect them with, too. So this facility, it was meant to oversee the terraforming system?
For the local region? Had humans received their education, they would have then been guided here to assume. As that never happened, this place...
Until Minerva decided... So, a while back, before I discovered another AI there. It was created to oversee operations, and it spent the last 1,000 years in isolation. I'm guessing you didn't know about it?
No. From an effort by its creators to...
Any chance it could help us now?
I have already attempted contact. Given its previous experience with accepting an outside, I imagine it is unwilling to do so.
Right. Because last time Hephaestus and Well, that's too bad. I think... The processor Ether was installed on was a memorial to something called the Hot Zone Crisis. Do you know anything about it?
My knowledge of historical events would... However, climate day, such conditions would see an increase in dust storms.
But they wouldn't have built a museum in the middle of a waste, so I guess things got better eventually.
Yes. Data's at levels in the clawback era.